Welcome to the What You Know About It podcast. I'm your host, Rob Palacio. Today we will be talking about the Fallout 4 Machinima, Raiders. The What You Know About It podcast show is dedicated to reporting the current events, driving conversations, spreading the knowledge, entertainment, and shooting the shit with friends because I ain't got nothing better to do. Yo, what's up, Alex?
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. What in the hell have you been up to, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, man, we haven't talked in a minute. I'm currently on a road trip across the United States.
Oh.
So you caught me at a good time.
Oh, that's crazy. Where you going?
We don't quite know yet. It's, I think, sorry, I'm like throwing my stuff in a car here as we speak. We're trying to make it to New Orleans, I think, is the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we started off in San Francisco, and we are just kind of making our way across the Southwest.
Oh, cool. Business or pleasure? Or both?
I would say primarily pleasure, but I have to handle a lot of business to get to the pleasure.
Cool. Hey, man, it's dawned on me that people think that when we do these Raiders shows that they think that, like we're all together all the time and don't know like we're like literally separate living different lives and we just try to coordinate this as best as possible.
Oh yeah, they don't know that I'm trying to like herd a flock of cats across the United States.
I think what I want to do is I want to get in and dive in a little bit and tell people about how Raiders came to be, like from your head. So I guess my first question to you would be, how in the world did you come up with this whole idea in the first place?
So I was a film producer and director, and I say that with like a little bit more honorifics than probably I actually deserve. I went to film school, and then I shot some stuff afterwards. And I've just always wanted to do narrative storytelling through video, and I just was never really able to find the right group of people to collaborate to make that happen. And I've always liked video games. I grew up playing Fallout. It was like one of the first games that I really, really got into. And, in my early 20s, Red vs. Blue came out, and I think probably I and you and everybody else that was like had red blood was really into that for a while. And I just kind of forgot about it for a minute. I became just an event producer for a number of years. And then I picked up Fallout 4, not because it's necessarily, like, more out of, like, loyalty to the brand, I guess, than anything else. And another guy named Michael, he did it before I did. He came out with this show called Brotherhood Redacted, which was, if you're familiar with the Fallout universe, it's like a paramilitary organization, and they just wander around collecting technology, and he did like a kind of buddy comedy about how they fucked up their job really badly, just like any other comedy. So I was like, fuck it, I could do this. I come from a directing background, so I wrote it and sent it to like 80 different voice actors, of which only about 10 replied, and only one of them just recorded it without even negotiating about it too much, and sent me back the full voiceover without even asking about it too much. I edited it together, put it on the internet, and put it on a message board, and then for some reason overnight we got like 700 subscribers just from that one video, and then we were kind of off to the races.
Right. I mean, that was just kind of crazy for me how it came about because, I had no idea what you were pitching me, like I had never done anything like that. And it was kind of like, and I remember you saying like, so your character is going to wear a dress. And I was like, okay, and you did so well pitching it to me. And I said, I want to do character work. I want to, get that part of my resume going for voiceover. And I was with it because I felt like you had a plan, you had an idea. It wasn't just to do things because, and I think it's fun I think we laugh a lot, we have fun, but it's also harder than people think because like I said, I've talked to a few people and they literally think which would be nice if we could all get into one studio and do an ensemble recording, but that's not quite how it works.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, it's like it's difficult on a bunch of different levels. It's like, writing it, we have this video game that is effectively our art department and our cinematography department. And we can make it do certain stuff, but we can't make it do everything we want to do. Like the people that work on this are pretty cinematically minded, and they'd love to like swap out lenses and change the depth of field and do a lot of like moving panning shots and like add a lot of artistry to the craft, but we're just kind of locked in. So whenever I write the show, I have to basically take all of that into account and be like, what can I
Right.
do with a story that only allows for just kind of like sticking people in one place that don't have mouths and kind of like narrating at each other a bunch. And then I
Right.
have to find people that have good equipment and are like down for the cause and see something valuable in participating in it. But people don't understand that, like, we don't sit in a room and just bang this out at once. Like, I coordinate, you know, between like 8 or 9 different actors on any given episode, and I have to get, each actor does like between 3 to 6 takes per every single line. So if you have like a show like this last one, which had like 230 lines of dialogue, you're talking about like maybe 1,500 lines that you have to listen to pick out the best ones. And I'm super lucky that I get to work with like you guys, like you and Jesse and Marissa and
Mhm.
Francesca and all these people that are so amazingly talented. But
Right.
yeah, even with you guys like giving me like good audio every single time, like
Right.
it's clean. I don't have to process it. It still takes me like this last episode took me 6 hours of audio editing just to put
I believe
everything
it.
in order.
Where did you come up with the ideas for the story or the characters?
So there was this one. I write a lot. Like I write a lot of narrative fiction, and I don't share it with anybody just because that's scary, and I'm a pussy.
Okay.
Uh, but there was this one video creator on YouTube, and his name is Ahoy, and he makes these really interesting videos about the history of certain components of video games, like the weapons or the characters. And he did one about Doom, and he talked about Doom Guy, who is this kind of like proto hero type dude. Like he's a Marine, he's like chiseled, he's ready to kick some fucking ass. He doesn't say anything, he's just ready to, save the day. And I just like, we're in a phase of media right now where I think we're kind of evolving to realize that even though story is repetitive, like we're all telling the same stories as the people that came before us, I think we
Mhm.
may have got into a bit of a rut for a while, especially when it comes to like kind of comic book dynamics. It's always just like some really like fancy, well-to-do white guy, and it just made me not necessarily like social justice warrior out and be like this is offensive and like I need to be for the cause. It just
Right.
made me realize that it's like how many heroes do we not have any perspective on? And I'm bored of Doom Guy. Like I'm bored of Doom Guy.
Okay.
Like, and the reason why I brought up Ahoy was he kind of tracked Doom Guy through all of video games. Now, like basically every video game protagonist is Doom Guy. So
Mm.
like I kind of had an interesting dynamic of like just two dudes that grew up in the shittiest environment possible, but
Right.
I kind of wanted to like I genuinely think that the world is pretty sensitive to race and things like that. So if I kind of like tease the main character being the white guy for a while, and then kind of like
Mhm.
slowly transitioned out of him out of that role, and then kind of like brought a cross-dressing black guy into it, kind of over time, that no
Right.
one would notice the difference, and then you could just kind of take over from there. And
Right.
I think that just like that was a story that was interested in exploring, and even though I had no right to really like take that on, I just wanted to try something different because I'd seen everything else before and I was tired of it.
Ah, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I think, these are very broken characters and not your cookie cutter, like you just said, heroes or anything like that. And um it really spoke to me about Mac. Why I was so interested to play Mac was because I was like, again, he's wearing a dress. Why? And it everything that they do, like Mac seems to have people. Okay, this is for those who watch Raiders, know that I don't know, as the person that's playing Mac, anything that's happening with Mac until I get the script. So I'm literally reading my script like, oh, okay, that's happening, and that's fun for me. But I like exploring Mac because I can even see certain parts of myself in, his loyalty, how he wants to do the right thing, but maybe his environment has made him a little edgy, and he has and almost this weird sense of humor. And I have no idea why he's got the dress on, but I almost feel like he's comfortable making people uncomfortable just so he can do what he needs to do. And it's not really about the dress,
Yeah,
and I have,
it's
uh huh,
like he's there's kind of like these allusions to the fact that he may be a lot like Avery's a fuck up. Like I think like that's pretty clear in pretty much everything that he does. He's just not
hmm
he's not terribly skilled at what he does. He's not very good at foresight. He's one of those people that makes a lot of plans but doesn't really follow them through. And if he does, it's kind of like phoned in and half-assed. And like
hmm
Mac is his homie. Like he's like ride or die.
they're like brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he's got his back for whatever reason, which is kind of unclear at this point in the story. But there've been moments where just Max seems almost supernaturally capable for some reasons. And I think that there's like some dynamics in the story, hopefully that we've alluded to well, that maybe like a black guy that wears a dress in an environment like this might have reasons for being more skilled in surviving than others. And he also might
I want
have
to know
some
why.
reasons for keeping that from Avery, for one reason or another. Because whenever anybody asks why he's wearing the dress, like why are you electing this opportunity to wear a dress, he just kind of skirts past it and doesn't want to talk about it. So like,
Right.
that's going to be something that kind of unfolds between them, like as the story progresses.
Are we ever going to figure out their full backstories?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I definitely, it's hard, because it's like we only get this like if it was my choice, we would be doing like
hmm
20, 30 minute episodes every week. But like financial limitations being what they are, we have to pay all the actors, we have to pay the animators. Like I have to take a huge chunk of time off from work to do this and take all this stuff and get it taken care of.
Right.
But yeah, there's full backstories for all these characters, and coming together, why they're not monsters, but also why they kind of have like an unusual set of skills that has kind of brought them together as an incidental team as opposed to a team that kind of elects to be that.
Right.
Because if they had the choice, then none of them would really be like, let's do this.
Doing
This
what
is
they're
what I
doing.
want. It's just that
Right.
they're in that situation, and it's a desperate environment. Not a lot of people understand in the United States right now what desperate environments are like. But in desperate environments, people make relationships that they might not otherwise make. So it's good
That's an
for
interesting
comedy.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, okay. So we're in season 1 still. Um, are we? People are going to be shocked I'm asking this question. I just thought about it. Are we going to actually break and then go into season 2, or are we just going to make everything one season? What are we
Uh,
doing?
I have like 3 seasons kind of plotted out. If we can keep the show going, yeah, I have. I mean, like, I think a show is only as good as its villain. So there's a lot more fleshing out we have to do with V, the kind of mysterious woman in the red who may or may not work for the Brotherhood, and
hmm
her kind of like mono-voiced army of soldiers that kind of follow her around. Um,
hmm
but there's other villains I want to bring into it. There are other personalities I want to bring into it. Like we're not going to run that well dry. I just there's certain things that are going to be more complicated And I would like to get the show to the point where it's funded, where we can actually have like the animation tools to really tell the story in the right way before we actually say like, okay, we're now ending season one.
Right. So Raiders definitely needs that Patreon support. Uh, probably get that merchandise out. That'll help. People will want to support Raiders.
Yeah, that is definitely something that's in the works. Like, I don't know if people know this, because some the kind of devout do, but like I actually, during the last 2 years, just had tons of deaths in my family, my girlfriend's family, and then like got very ill and then got black mold poisoning in like the last 4 months, and like sure it seems like we're
Right.
not doing as much as we could, and like from an objective perspective that might be true, but we are actually spending a lot of time. The game engine that we're working with, the tools that we have are just very dense, and trying
Okay.
to learn the methods of like being able to like bring things like motion capture, for instance, or like moving
Mhm.
the lips so that it doesn't seem distracting when people aren't speaking. Like, that's all
Right.
things that takes, believe it or not, hundreds of hours per problem to research. And we actually have like, we have relationships with maybe like 12 other channels who all we do
Mhm.
is just try and figure out the code. Like, how do we change the depth of field in the camera? How do we take a model from 3ds Max, which is like the software that was designed to design the animations for this game? How do we take that and actually import it into the game, and then play it so that we can have things like like there's like certain things we did in like the last episode where a guy gets stabbed in the eye and then grabs himself in the face and falls back. That would not be a
Mhm.
super effective scene if you didn't have that that kinetic force in what happens there. But just figuring out
Yeah.
that one small animation took us about 40 hours. So like, hopefully we'll turn that into a pipeline. But a huge part of this is just like kind of wandering around in the dark.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys figure that out because that sounds
Oh,
like a foreign language
oh,
to
you don't want
me.
to learn. You don't want to learn C plus plus and help us unpack
I
the
am
game
I
files.
am I am a voice actor. That's all I do.
Uh-huh.
You send me a script and I do my part and I go
Yeah,
away.
don't sell yourself short. You seem pretty good with a baseball bat.
Well, I try. But we get compared a lot. You said it earlier, like the whole red versus blue thing. And I see that a lot on the comments. I sometimes, with my schedule, I try to sometimes get in the comments and interact with the fans of the show as much as possible. I'm probably very bad at that, but um I always see comments about, hey, this is like red versus blue or better than red versus blue or whatever. What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, so I could definitely understand the comparison, because it's just, I think, though there is like red versus blue benefits from one very specific thing. They're all friends that live together, so they were able to like kind of get a rapport that we still don't quite have, which is simply a symptom of just doing remote work. Um, there's just like little
Right.
nuances and trade offs, and like if you've ever done improv, you know that like timing is so crucial
Mhm.
to like reading play off of people, and then maybe one day we'll get to that point, but uh,
We should do like a big Skype call or something because see, I speak to Jesse
uh huh.
every now and then. Like we're actually like friends. Uh, but I don't know the other actors
Did
really.
you meet Jesse through this?
I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I did, and
Yeah,
so
he's a cool fucking dude.
he's a cool dude, and so like we have every now and then like if everybody went silent and we're in a hiatus for whatever reason, maybe I got sick or whatever, or a combination of things or whatever's happening, um, I would hit him up, he would hit me, hey, what's going on with Raiders? We getting back together? What's going on? And then we would call you, and then it'll be like, hey, you speak to Alex? Yeah, I spoke to Alex. Did you speak to Alex? you know, and we'd have this back and forth, but I think I may be like Twitter friends with
Francesca and
Francesca, I
Marissa.
think. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I don't really know her or any of the other actors because I don't know. I honestly don't have an answer for that. It's really bad. I feel terrible about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's just something like I didn't want to ask for it because like I didn't have enough money to pay people to be like, hey, fuck around with your schedule to accommodate this. You know,
Yeah.
like I wanted like everything that I do, I just try to be like so light touch because I
Right.
like know that I'm asking more than what like I know that I'm asking a lot more than what people are worth,
Well, fuck
or
it.
like
I'll
a
say
lot
it
less.
then.
I guess
I'll
I'm
say it.
underpaying everybody.
I will challenge the cast of Raiders to a some sort of Skype conference call. You know, let's do it, man. Like we all need to
Yeah,
get together and build a
yeah.
better rapport.
I feel like the way that we would do that is like you oh man, I think even yeah, you Francesca and Jesse are parents.
Yeah,
So like I think we'd kick that to you and be like, all right, what works for y'all? And if y'all can get something together, then
yeah.
I think we're good.
We can do it.
Or
I
maybe
don't
even
care if
just
it's
doing like
10
a
minutes.
table read.
It could be a 10-minute call. Like whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to talk to you all in one place. Like
Yeah, yeah,
finally. Like actually hang out in a group and not in like the structured
yeah.
digital
See, I
world.
don't even know where she lives. Like I know I'm out here, you're in San Francisco, right? And
Yeah.
where is Jesse? I don't even remember. Um
Jesse, fuck, he's in the Midwest.
like in the
No,
yeah, I
he's
want to
in
say the
Maine?
Midwest
I think it's
somewhere.
Maine.
Yeah. So I mean probably
Yeah.
physically we couldn't do it, but like I said, I think we can all find a 10-minute block to have a conference call, or something, Like I
Yeah,
think that'll
for
work.
sure. Yeah, I think we can. I'll get an email started. We can
Yeah,
definitely see if we
please.
can work that out.
Please. I mean, we have an email chain, but it's always work related. Like, hey, here's the new script, or this is what's happening business wise with Asynchrony or whatever, So
Mhm.
yeah, we have no kind of yeah. I think we need to fix that.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do it.
agree with you, man.
Yeah. Hey, so anything else on the horizon for you outside of Raiders?
Uh, yeah. We're gonna start dropping like the I having cleaned my house of mold. Uh, like through the tactical use of like bleach and
Hey,
flamethrowers.
did you really
We
almost
have
die, man? Like, what happened?
it just makes you I can't explain it to somebody. It makes you just crazy. Like you lose your mind. Like you can't you get these like periods of lucidity, like and which actually gets helped by like
Yeah,
alcohol
you
and
was on drugs. Shut
caffeine.
up. You was on drugs.
Yeah, I was just freebasing that for 2 months. Um, no, it's like it's just your memory gets fucked up and your sense of time gets fucked up. Like because you're inhaling these spores that come off of the black mold,
Mhm,
and then your body gets this like really you can test your blood for these reactive proteins,
mhm.
and you it just makes you kind of feel kind of crazy. Like you remember that one guy who I'm forgetting what he's some very famous actor who like he shot himself, and his wife then also shot herself the same night. They went in their house and they found their house was just like full of black mold. Like
What the fuck?
you just kind of feel kind of depressed and weird, and your memory's all fucked up. You can't really remember if you made commitments, and like it's just strange. And that's what actually made me go in for testing was like my girlfriend was like, I'm starting to feel weird. And then she ordered a lab test kit, and we tested our walls, and it came back positive, and we ripped out the whole wall. It was full of black mold. So,
What the hell?
but yeah, so that is now done, and since I've taken care of that,
Mhm.
we're going into full production of some other stuff. Like we actually have a review show that's going to drop, I think either today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Called Spectra, which is just like me making fun of bad movies so far. We'll
Ooh.
see if it changes into something else.
Right.
And then yeah, there's like other animation projects that we're kicking around. We're going to see if we can actually get them made.
Okay.
We're talking to see if we can find a producer for it because
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
just like you need bigger budgets for better shows.
yeah, absolutely.
What about you, man? Let me ask you a review question here. What do you got on the horizon now that you're
um,
Carnival Goose's main ambassador?
um, you know, for me, it's just voice work, man. I want to delve in more into character work. So maybe eventually I'll get a character demo done. I'm always doing promo ads and commercial ads and just standard voiceover work for me. Uh but yeah, that's kind of my focus. I want to do more character work, man. I actually love, like, anytime we get a script from Raiders and we're doing that, I'm actually really happy and I get to play around with my lines. Like, you hear the takes that I send
Yeah,
that we don't
dude.
use.
Oh, so
You know,
that one
I
where it was like the athlete's foot-looking beef jerky motherfucker rant that you did in the last episode.
yeah.
That was one of
Yeah.
my favorite thing of yours that you've ever done. It was so amazing. That had me cracking up in a coffee shop.
Well, you wrote it though, so you knew it was coming.
I know, yeah, but it's like, the difference between something that's like amazing and just kind of a funny concept as a
Uh-huh.
performance, right? So just like when you reach that point and then you're like, and I ripped my motherfucking hairline, like I just lost it. Like I cracked up
I
so
mean,
fucking
it's
hard.
it's funny because I literally sit with the script. Like, I try not to sit too long. I don't want it to get too used to it. It kind of needs to be off the cuff. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy because I'll sit with it and I'll read it and I'll kind of crack up to. I'm like, what the fuck did Alex just write? And then I'm like, well, if I was Mac and I had some heels on all day and went through all this shit, but I'm also this black dude from the hood, how would I say this? And what's the most absurd part of this shit that I'd be upset about? And the fact that you wrote it and it's in there, I was like, yeah, I ripped my hemline. That's a problem. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna save up this dress for like a
Yeah,
real
like,
nice occasion,
why?
and then you rip your
Why? Why?
headline.
Why?
It's
Why is
son
this a
of a bitch.
problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean that comes from the writing too, man. Because we're as an actor, you got to deal with whatever is on the page, and it was on the page. But then, like, see, that's what I like about character acting, and even working with you is you always tell me, like, hey, I write this stuff, but feel free to change whatever you need to change. And so I would imagine that the other actors are doing that also because I've changed like a line or a phrase or said things slightly differently, and we get to play, and I really love playing with, like, the stuff you give me because it just makes it fun.
Yeah, but that's what makes it great on my end too. So if anybody is listening to this wants to get into voice work or especially audio editing, like giving people a lot of coverage, from like one line to the other, something as simple as like changing a what response makes something funny or dull. So if you're an actor, like covering a lot of emotions when you're doing a read is like so crucial. And that's what I love about working with, like, you and Jesse, Francesca, and Marissa. Like, you guys cover so much. We can actually piece something together that's interesting that almost sounds like you guys are exactly in a room talking to each other.
Right.
But
Right.
if there was not that talent and that instinct, and also what I really love is how much it's improved. Like looking at the older shows and the newer shows, like you guys definitely
Mhm.
understand the characters a lot better. So you read it
Right.
perfect almost every single time.
Right. I mean, I'm truly impressed with all the other actors, to be honest with you. I don't even worry about my lines. Like, I like to see, yes, how my work came out and what lines you picked from what I delivered to you. But I really watch the show to see, okay, what did Jesse say this time?
Mm-hmm.
What did Francesca say this time? Like, what are their lines? Because I try to believe it or not, my method is, um, I only follow the conversation to where it involves Mac. So I don't really read the whole script. I just kind of like, okay, here's my line. What happened before it? And if that doesn't quite make sense, what happened before that?
Mm-hmm.
So I can get the context, and then I go, okay. And then I'll kind of pick my delivery system and I'll deliver my lines. So that way, when I see it, I'm like, oh, okay. I like being surprised when I watch the show, which is why I told you, like, don't tell me what's happening with Mac or his future or anything like that. Don't tell me. Let me just deal with it.
Yeah, because it's better if you know it's coming in advance, then you probably will telegraph it too much. Like,
Right. Right.
That's the hard thing about acting is like you actually kind of want to be in a place of ignorance that makes you a better actor. Like,
Right. So yeah, I always try to get the context of the conversation, and sometimes I have to read further back because it's like a long stemming conversation between 3, 4, 5 people, or whatever.
hmm
And so I'm like, oh, okay, so what's going on? What's going on? So I know how to address what I'm saying. So, I just, but again, I try to keep a cap on it, I guess, and it just to keep it authentic for me. So yeah, I'm always, interested in what the characters are doing. Hey, but let me ask you this, or let me say this. Ryan Reynolds. You get so many comparisons to Ryan. I don't hear it probably because we talk, but
yeah.
or I should say I don't hear it over the phone. I do slightly hear it when you're delivering Avery. Or yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
You're
and
doing
the
it.
Raul character
Roll
comes
a
through
little
a
bit more
lot more.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like it's one of those things where like I feel like that resentful asshole. Like it's like my name is Alex. My name is Alexander, right?
Right.
Like people call me Alex. Fine with that. Like I so totally get it, you know. But like it's like I kind of feel like that guy who's like wandering around me and like no, actually it's Alexander when it comes to the Ryan Reynolds things because I released the first fucking episode of Raiders like 2 months before Deadpool came out, and
Right.
like everyone is.
Right.
It's so Deadpool. It's like no one even knew if the movie was good or
Yeah,
not
no one was
before that
channeling Deadpool,
fucking thing.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I like him, but it's like the reason why I came up with Raul the character to have that like really pleasant, nice voice that's like this is because he's the deputy director of public relations for the Raiders, like which is
Mhm.
an entirely different plot line.
Right.
So he's there to just make things sound nice and appealing. Like that's
Right.
his fucking job is to
Right.
talk to the audience. And if
Right.
you've ever known someone who's in public relations, they have the most like artificially fake and enthusiastic tone of voice.
Right.
And that's what I wanted that character to have.
Right.
He's like, yeah, things are great. I mean, they're fucking murdering people and people are blowing up and like there's collateral damage, but tune in next week, you know?
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna say the fans kinda got you, man, because
yeah,
let me
yeah,
just tell look, I was sitting down, it was a late night, I was having a little something to drink, and I decided to watch The Hitman's Bodyguard, Samuel L. Jackson,
yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. As
Uh-huh.
soon as Ryan Reynolds started talking, I literally just bursted into laugh, right? Like just damn near tears, right? And I'm like, fucking Alex, man. I'm like, you are never going to live that down. I feel like you should get a Ryan Reynolds t-shirt, like with the
Oh.
with the no, the no symbol around it, or you know,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'll get the Ghostbuster symbol, but it'll be
the
Ryan Reynolds' face
yeah,
instead.
whatever you call that symbol, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's never it's never gonna go away. I mean, I just like it's one of those things like I can't help it. Like I'm sorry, my voice sounds like another dude.
I feel like in a small way you embraced it.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's like it's. I think the thing is like it's one of those things like unfortunately every once in a while there's like going to be a band or a movie that comes out or a TV show or a book
Mhm.
that is incidentally going to line up like culturally with something else that was much much bigger,
Mhm.
and you're going to seem like a knockoff of that. Like there's just you can't help it.
Yeah.
Like you know I'm sure there are a million indie bands that came out after Modest Mouse got big, and everyone's like copycat, and they're like, we've been doing this for 12 fucking years. What do you
Right.
want from us, you asshole?
Right.
But that's just how it is, man, and it's okay. Maybe we can guilt them into coming onto the Extra Life charity stream by way
Ab-
of apology.
Absolutely. Hey, so final question. Are we gonna tell the world who the fuck Steve is?
No comment.
Okay. Ah. Hey, Alex, man. You know you my brother, right?
Yeah, man, I know. You're mine too. You know that, right?
Ah, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank
Here's
you.
a kick.
Thank you for sharing. Uh, I hope those who follow Raiders, kind of got a little bit more of an insight to what it is we do, man. And hey, thank you for creating this content and letting me be a part of it.
Oh man, like I said, this probably wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for you either. So pat yourself on the back while you're at it.
Oh man, like I said, it's your work all day, man. It's all the great actors that we have. Because you know what? I honestly wondered, uh, as much as I love the first episode, the first 2 episodes, I was like, I don't know how long me and him are gonna be able to carry this, you know?
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
started getting really good people to join us. So it's not just me, it's not just you, it's our whole cast, man. We have a really unique
Oh yeah.
cast.
No, it is a never-ending series of extreme fortune. Like really quick, gotta point out that Michael Yeakley is the guy that inspired this, and Joshua Yeba, the guy over at Shoddycast, and Tommy Watson, who is our principal animator for the show,
Mhm.
and Ben Rode, who's done a lot of the raws and a lot of the research and development, and like all the amazing people in our community, like Blade Runner and Storm Knight and Mrs. E and Henrik and all these other guys, like all these people that have been there from the beginning. I shouldn't have even named names because now I'm going to be a dick for not mentioning all the people that I like and remember.
Uh-oh.
But like it's just like we're really fortunate at every single level, and it's like maybe I was like the seed a long time ago, but it has become this other thing. And even though it's still relatively small, the upper momentum still feels amazing, and I'm super grateful, especially to you and everybody who's on Faith agreed to participate in this, put so many hours of work into it. Like it's no matter where this goes, it'll be one of my favorite creative projects in my life.
Absolutely.
And
Me too. Me too.
yeah,
All
I'm
right,
so
man.
grateful,
Hey,
man.
drop your links. Let people know where to find you, where to find the show. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so it's going to be at YouTube, www.youtube.com/Asynchrony Studios. You can find us on Twitter at A_Synchrony. Same for Instagram, A_Synchrony. Search for us on Facebook, Asynchrony Studios there too. You can find us on Twitch, Asynchrony Studios too. I'm on vacation right now, but we end up streaming like 2-3 nights a week, and that shit can get pretty wild depending on who's there and what happens. Yeah, and just go follow us everywhere. We do giveaways, we do competitions, we do contests, polls, we ask people stuff, we hang out with people, and yeah, we'd love to see you. If you're not a fan already, come through.
Absolutely. Love you, Raiders cast. We should talk soon.
Yeah, damn right. All right, Ron, man, I'm gonna take off and get back on the road. But thanks for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. What you know about the podcast? We out.